Tubers and trolls, welcome back. I'm Chris with Telesplash Gaming. I hope you've been entertained over the weekend with some of the big E3 releases, the announcements. There's been some really fun stuff over the last week or so, and Bethesda's had some big heavy hitters coming out in the next 6 months, in the next year, and then lots of fun little indie sequels. Ori and the Blind Forest is having their sequel come out, so there's a lot of fun things in the gaming community and the gaming world. But today's video is going to be on kind of a funny little habit that I have. I have to beat a game. If I start a game, I typically need to finish it because mentally it just does something to me. I hate having games started and not finished. I don't need to complete the game. I'm not a completionist, but I do want to see the end credits. And I had a video on end credits, a couple videos ago. But like movies, like games, like books, if the first 15 minutes doesn't grab me, sometimes I do stop playing that game. And these are kind of 5 games on this list today that are really good. They have great reviews. They're critically acclaimed. Most people tend to like them. Gamers talk about them all the time. But for some reason or another, they just didn't hook me, and I just haven't really gotten back to playing them. I do think these are good games, and a couple of them I really want to get back into, especially after doing some gameplay stuff with them for this video. But for me, it's just the initial hook didn't grab, and I haven't gone back to them. So these are 5 games that didn't hook me in the beginning. All right, so games that didn't hook me. One of them is a little painful for me because I love this series so much and I was so hyped for it, and that game is Diablo 3. Oh, Diablo 1 was the very first game I ever played online. I was in, I think, 6th grade. We had dial-up internet. I was calling my neighbor's landline or line next door. His phone would ring. If you know anything about dial-up or you're kind of an old school gamer, you would literally make a phone call to your neighbor's house. Their phone would ring, you don't pick up, then their computer would pick up the signal and you'd play. So Diablo 1 I played like crazy. Diablo 2 in high school, I played like every day. I would do the MF runs, Magic Find runs with that mage, and I built a computer specifically for Diablo 2. It was a pretty good machine at the time. It was a AMD 1700 Plus with 256 megabytes of RAM, a GeForce 3 Ti 200. It was, at the time, it was a pretty high-end gaming machine. It's funny looking back at those now. And Diablo 3, the hype. Oh my goodness, I was so excited for Diablo 3. And it came out, and I don't know what it was. The graphics, it looked amazing. It was a beautiful game, but I just couldn't kind of rekindle that magic. It just didn't happen for me. I wanted to love Diablo 3, and I put so many hours into it. And after, I think, 15 or 20 hours, I just thought, I'm not having fun. Like, I just wasn't having fun playing it, and I put it away. And then about 2 years later, I had some friends say, oh, they got some new updates and patches and this and that, so we're going to go ahead and play it on the PS4. So then I downloaded the Ultimate Evil Edition, and I was super hyped again. And then I played it for a few days, and I thought, just didn't do it for me. Just couldn't do it. So Diablo 3 just didn't hook me, and it's a great game. I think people love it. It just never seemed to get that same level of excitement that the first and the second game did for me. I still love those dungeon crawlers, but I might just need to do something like Pillars of Eternity now, and wait for Diablo 4 and try it again. So that was number 1, Diablo. The second game is actually one that I played with my son, and it is the Lego Star Wars series. I love the Lego games. They come out with some amazing, really fun games. The local co-op is great for me and my 6-year-old. And my first game for the PS4 was actually Lego Marvel Superheroes. And we played that game hours and hours, and there's so much stuff to find and so many fun. It was so open world, really. And we had a blast. And so we actually played Lego Star Wars after that. And I think the reason it didn't hook me was it just didn't have that same epic feel that the Lego Marvel game did. And we're a huge Star Wars family. I think I've mentioned that many times. And so I wanted to love it, but I just couldn't really get into that specific Lego game. Still, I think Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens, that was really fun. But for some reason, the original trilogy and the complete edition, or the complete, 6 movie, game, just didn't hook me. Just couldn't do it. So Lego, I love what they're doing. They have some great products, and that game is pretty well received. I think a lot of people liked it, but for me, I just couldn't really get into it. So that's how it goes sometimes. And the next game is definitely, I would say controversial because it is a really, really good game, and I know it is. And that is going to be Fallout 4. I got Fallout 4, played it for a couple hours, and for some reason, it just didn't get its hooks in me. I don't know what I was playing. Maybe I was replaying The Last of Us, and I was just so into that game. But Fallout 4, I know is a good game. All my friends love it, and they say I'm crazy for not, playing through it. And when I was doing some research for the video and looking at it, it got me excited. So Fallout 4 is one of those where even though it didn't initially hook me and grab my attention and keep me super engaged, I think it was more based on the fact that I was playing some other games at the time that I was into and didn't really give Fallout 4 a chance to kind of set those hooks in. So that one is one that I'm definitely going to go back to, and especially with Fallout 76 being, talked about this weekend at E3, it really just got me hyped to play Fallout even more. So that wasn't a game that I disliked so much, as I just think I was busy doing other stuff when it came out, and I just never really went back to it. So the good news is I still own the game. I just never really got a chance to kind of get into the story. I just got to the first few parts, and it wasn't doing it for me at the time, and I said I'm going to try something else. And The Witcher 3 did that for the first few hours, and then I got hooked on that one quick, and I'm still playing that right now. But Fallout 4, I just never really gave it, I think, its due, and I know it's a great game, and every time I see gameplay footage, I want to play through it. That initial time I got it and I plugged it in, it was just bad timing. And that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you put a game in and you're just not in the mood, you're not in the right, mind for it, you're playing something else, or you're maybe playing an online game. That's happened quite a few times. You play something like, Destiny or League of Legends or even Fortnite now, and it's hard to get into some of these great games because you're so involved playing online with your friends and people you meet on there that you just can't get into those games. And so I think that's where Fallout kind of fell into the part where it didn't hook me because I was so busy playing other stuff. The next game's also a little bit controversial for me to have on the list, but I have read a lot of stuff about people kind of agreeing, and that is Mass Effect, the very first Mass Effect. Now the problem with that is I didn't play the original Mass Effect when it came out. I didn't play any of the Mass Effects right away. I read about them, I knew about them, but I just never took the time to play any of them. And so finally I went and I bought, online there was a sale on them, so I went and bought the trilogy online, and I said, okay, I've got to play them in order. And I put the first one in, and it was okay. It was just wasn't great, in my opinion. As far as getting me engaged and hooked, I thought it was great. I loved the graphics, and I thought that it had a fairly engaging story. But I think that it would have been better playing it when it first came out, as opposed to trying to play it at the end. And another example of something similar to that was like Kingdom Hearts. I bought the Kingdom Hearts collection, and I played through the first one, and I beat it. But I can see why the second one is better because typically the games do get better as they progress. And Mass Effect, they've already had 3 games out at that time, and I was trying to go back and play the original, and sometimes at the time when the first one comes out, it's mind-blowing and it's amazing, but it doesn't quite hold up. And that's kind of how I felt about Mass Effect 1 and even the Kingdom Hearts. The camera on Kingdom Hearts was terrible, but I beat it. But when it came out, it was so great, nobody really cared. So anyway, Mass Effect is another one that I do want to get back into. I want to play the trilogy, but I just didn't. I played it for a few hours, and I just thought, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't get the grind. I couldn't get past the initial beginning part of that game to, get there. And the last game. Now this one we're going to go back a few years, and I think it's more the kind of genre more than anything, and that is Final Fantasy Tactics. Final Fantasy Tactics is known, universally praised by almost everybody as being an amazing game. It's got so many ports, I don't really hear too many negative things about it, and I can see why people like Final Fantasy Tactics. For me, I'm not a big fan of the puzzle. It's okay, it's not for me. I think it's more the game. And so even filming this footage for this video, it was a grind just to get through the first, 20 minutes. I just didn't enjoy it at all. I just thought I couldn't wait to get out of it. And I hate to say that about, the Final Fantasy series, but the good thing is there's a lot of great other Final Fantasy games you can play. And so if you don't like tactics, then there's other, avenues of Final Fantasy that you'll get your fix. And for me, I couldn't get into it. I enjoyed watching my friend play it. I enjoyed seeing him go through it. But for me, I don't know if I just wasn't smart enough to figure out the puzzles. My brain doesn't work that way. I don't know. But Final Fantasy Tactics for me just didn't do it. It didn't get the hooks in there deep enough, and as far as I'm concerned, I'll probably never play that game. But you know, that's my own opinion, and that's what's great about it. But you know, of the 5 games, I probably won't play Lego, you know, the Star Wars much. I won't play Final Fantasy Tactics again, and Diablo 3 I've given, you know, quite a few chances, and just doesn't do it for me. So Fallout 4 and the Mass Effect trilogy. Now those are the ones I want to go back to. Those ones, they put a little bit of those hooks in me, but not enough to actually keep me going at the time, but enough that they've piqued my interest, and I'm, you know, definitely going to get back into them, especially after getting some gameplay footage and watching it and reading about it, and then at E3 seeing the new Fallout. I'm really excited to get back into the series. But at the time, they just didn't do it. So guys, let me know if you guys have some of those games that did not hook you right away, that are known as good games. There's a lot of great games out there that people love, but there's also those like myself that maybe didn't enjoy it that first go around, or didn't get that initial wow factor to keep playing. And that's okay. So let me know what you guys think. Please like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate you guys. I hope you have a great week, and let's see what we have in store for the next round of E3 announcements. Talk to you soon.